right, kiddos, so if you are watching this video, you should have completed the Mystery of the Cactus Arm plot assignment on Google Classroom. And we are going to dig in today and just kind of map out the plot of our story. So remember from your video, the plot mountain, we know the very beginning, this is called several different things, the setup, the hook, the exposition, but this is basically where we meet the characters, we meet the setting, and usually we meet the problem. So our question here is, what problem does Oliver face at the beginning of the story as he and Calvin look at the cactus? So kiddos, when you go back into the passage, you'll see this is where Calvin, at the beginning of our story on page 11, Calvin is basically betting him, I bet you can't knock that arm off. And Oliver's kind of like, no, I don't think so. The beam's pretty stuck. My parents are trying to save it. And in his mind, he's thinking, I really don't want to do this, but he's gonna make fun of me. He doesn't want to get, it says, but it was still better than having to deal with Calvin making fun of me at school if I chickened out. Okay, so he's kind of like, he's caught in a pickle. Either I knock down the cactus arm and take Calvin's bet, or I'm going to get made fun of at school. So in your answer here, what I'm looking for is you to say, restating your problem, or the question, the problem Oliver faces is, and then to tell me, is to choose between knocking down the cactus arm, even though he knows, I spelled cactus wrong, knows it is wrong, or being made fun of by Calvin for being and I'm putting a quote here because it does not make you a chicken to stand up to your friends. I want you guys to learn that lesson. If your friends tell you to do something that you know is wrong and you stand up and you say, no, I'm not going to do that, that does not make you a chicken. That makes you very, very, very brave. In fact, I believe Oliver was a chicken for doing it in the first place because he didn't want to get made fun of. But standing up for the right thing never makes you a chicken, kiddos. It makes you brave. So this is kind of what I'm looking for your answer to look like here. I'm looking for you to understand that Oliver was really faced with what he felt like was two really big problems. Either be made fun of, which we all have been there. Being made fun of is not fun. It doesn't feel good. It's not something you want. Or knocking off the cactus arm, which he knew was the wrong thing to do. Okay, so he was really caught in a pickle here, right? That's what our setup is. We meet our characters, Calvin and Oliver. We meet the problem. What am I going to have to do? On slide 2, we're seeing the rising action where the problem gets worse. For your video, the plot mountain. I love that video. I even show that video in class. So that's why you see it on your Google slide. I just think it does a great job of summing up plot. What does Oliver do to the cactus, and what does he tell his dad? Y'all, this is a right there, going back in the passage type situation. So what's he do? He throws rocks at the cactus arm until it falls off. And when his dad comes home and asks, he says, I don't know. It was like that when we got here. Okay, so this is a simple going back into the passage. I do want to see you restating what does Oliver do to the cactus? Oliver throws rocks at the cactus until the arm comes off. He tells his dad that he doesn't know what happened to it. It was like that when he came home. Okay, all right, climax. All right, so remember from your video, climax. That is when it comes to a head. There's a turning point. That's why it's the tip of the mountain, kiddos. Either he's going to fall backwards and nothing's going to get better, or he's going to fall forwards and he's going to figure out how to fix the problem. The climax is the turning point where the character has to make a decision. I've got to do something to fix my problem. So this is where Oliver is asleep and something starts to happen. So it's asking you what's happening when he tries to go to sleep and how is this a turning point? Well, the first question is right there. So when Oliver tries to sleep, he is woken up by storms and hearing whispers that say, where is my arm? He is scared of these whispers. Okay, so this is what happens when he's trying to sleep, but how is it a turning point? Okay, I want you to ask yourself this question. When you see the question here, how is it a turning point? Ask yourself, how does this change Oliver? How does this moment where he's hearing the whispers, how does it make Oliver decide to do something about his problem? Well, in this moment, he's realizing that he's going to have to make it right. He's going to have to own up to what he did, and he's going to have to make it right. So how is this a turning point? This is a turning point because it makes Oliver realize that he feels guilty. Ooh, that's not a cue. Guilty about what he did, and he needs to make it right. Okay, kiddos, remember he's laying in his bed and he's hearing it, and he decides that he's going to have to make it right. At the very end on page 13, he's going to bed again, and he's hearing the sound, "Who stole my cactus arm?" He's burying his head under the pillow, screaming, "Leave me alone." He hears it again. "Who stole my cactus arm?" He screams, "Go away. Who stole my cactus arm?" He says, "The whispering is loud enough now that I'm sure it's inside my room. I'm sorry, it's gone. The garbage truck already took it away. Who stole my cactus arm?" The fear overwhelms me, and I start to cry, declaring, "I'll make it right, I promise. I'll make it right if you just go away." So he is so scared of the whisper. And really, guys, it's just his guilt. It's his guilty conscience, and he's knowing he did the wrong thing that makes him realize, I've got to do the right thing. And that leads us to the falling action, or the solution, where he has to make up for what he does. So what's he do? Well, he owns up and he tells his dad and his mom what's happened. And at the end, he decides to pay the $15, or use the $15 from the bet to pay off, or pay toward helping save the cactuses. All right, big question at the end. How is Oliver feeling at the end of the story? Okay. The very, very end, it says, "That night, I'm able to fall asleep peacefully because the sky is clear and quiet. There are no more storms, no more guilt over what I did, and no more whispers." So how is Calvin, or how is Oliver kind of feeling here? Think back, kiddos. This is where we're having to ask ourselves, thinking, acting, feeling, speaking, and we're thinking about the whole what roller coaster he went on, right? All the feelings he had. Think about how he was at the beginning, where we said that he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm caught in a pickle. I'm going to get made fun of, or I got to do the wrong thing." He starts thinking like, "Oh my goodness, I'm hearing these whispers. I've pulled the cactus arm down. I know it was my fault. I know it's my fault." He's scared. He feels guilty. He finally owns up to it. So how do you think he's feeling at the end of all of this? Well, I think Oliver feels relieved, and it's not how you feel relieved, relieved about being honest about what he did, and feels good knowing he is going to help make it right. Okay, kiddos? All right, I'm interested to see what you come up with. And remember, this part of the lesson is on you. If your thinking is not matching mine, like it's totally off base, we are not coming up with the same answers, kiddos, you need to let me know. You need to be reaching out to me. You need to be saying, "Hey, Miss Megan, I really struggled with this part of the lesson. Can you help me out? I don't know where I went wrong." You've got to let me know that you're struggling. Okay, kiddos? Remember, Google Classroom, or email are great ways to reach me. Okay? All right, guys, I will see you later. Thanks for working hard.